Chapter 25. Days passed. I continued to avoid Stargirl. I wanted her. I wanted them. It seemed I could not have both, so I did nothing. I ran and hid. But she did not give up on me. She hunted me down. She found me in the TV studio after school one day. I felt fingers slipping down the back of my neck, grabbing my collar, pulling me backward. The crew was staring. "Mr. Borlock," I heard her say, "we need to talk." Her voice told me she was not smiling. She released my collar. I followed her out of the room. In the courtyard, a couple of cooing on the bench beneath the palmetto saw us coming and bolted, so that's where we sat. "So," she said, "are we breaking up already?" "I don't want to," I said. "So why are you hiding from me?" Forced to face her, forced to talk. I felt my gumption rising. "Something's got to change," I said. "That's all I know." "You mean like change clothes or change a tire? Should I change a tire on my bike? Would that do it?" "You're not funny. You know what I mean." She saw I was upset. Her face got serious. "People aren't talking to me," I said. I stared at her. I wanted it to sink in. "People I've known ever since we moved here. They don't talk to me. They don't see me." She reached out and lightly rubbed the back of my hand with her fingertip. Her eyes were sad. "I'm sorry people don't see you. It's no fun not being seen, is it?" I pulled my hand away. "Well, you tell me what it's like. Doesn't it bother you that nobody talks to you?" It was the first time I had openly mentioned the shunning to her. She smiled. "Dory talks to me. You talk to me. Archie talks to me. My family talks to me. Cinnamon talks to me. Sororio talks to me. I talk to me." She cocked her head and stared at me, waiting for a responding smile. I didn't give it. "Are you going to stop talking to me?" "That's not the question," I said. "What is the question?" "The question is," I tried to read her face, but I could not. "What makes you tick?" "Now I'm a clock?" I turned away. "See, I can't talk to you. It's all just a big joke." She put my face between her hands and turned me to her. I hoped people were not watching from the windows. "Okay, serious now. Go ahead. Ask me the tick question again, or any question at all." I shook my head. "You just don't care, do you?" That stumped her. "Care? Leo, how can you say I don't care? You've gone with me to places. We've delivered cards and flowers. How can you say—" "That's not what I mean. I mean, you don't care what people think." "I care what people think. I know you care what Cinnamon and Sororo think. I'm talking about the school, the town. I'm talking about everybody." She sniffed around the word. "Everybody?" "Right. You don't seem to care what everybody thinks. You don't seem to know what everybody thinks. She broke in. "Do you?" I thought for a moment. I nodded sharply. Yeah, I think I do know. I'm in touch with everybody. I'm one of them. How could I not know?" "And it matters?" "Sure it matters. Look." I waved my arm at the school around us. "Look what's happening. Nobody talks to us. You can't just not give a crap what anybody thinks. You can't just cheer for the other team and expect our own school to love you for it." Words that I had been thinking for weeks rolled off my tongue now. Kovac, for God's sake, what was that all about?" She was baffled. "What about him?" "What about him? What about you? What were you doing out there on the floor with him, with his head in your lap? He was in pain." "He was the enemy, Stargirl, Susan, whatever, the enemy." She stared dumbly back at me. She had blinked at Susan. "There were 1,000 Sun Valley people there. He had his own people to take care of him, his own coaches, his own teammates, his own cheerleaders' laps. And you had your own team to worry about." I was screeching. I got up and walked away. I came back, leaned into her. "Why?" I said. "Why didn't you just let him be taken care of by his own people?" She looked at me for a long time, as if in my face she could find herself explained. "I don't know," she said dimly at last. "I didn't think. I just did." I pulled back. I was tempted to say, "Well, I hope you're satisfied because they hate you for what you did." but I didn't have the heart. Now I was feeling sorry for her. I sat back down beside her. I took her hand. I smiled. I spoke as gently as I could. Stargirl, I just can't do things the way you do. If you weren't stuck in a homeschool all your life, you'd understand. You can't just wake up in the morning and say you don't care what the rest of the world thinks. Her eyes were wide, her voice peppy like a little girl's. You can't? Not unless you want to be a hermit. She flicked the hem of her skirt at my sneaker, dusting it. But how do you keep track of the rest of the world? Sometimes I can hardly keep track of myself. It's not something you even have to think about, I said. You just know, because you're connected. On the ground, her bag shifted slightly. Cinnamon was stirring. Stargirl's face went through a series of expressions, ending with a pout and a sudden sobby outburst. I'm not connected. She reached out to me, and we hugged on the bench in the courtyard and walked home together. We continued this conversation for the next couple of days. I explained the ways of people to her. I said, you can't cheer for everybody. She said, why not? I said, a person belongs to a group. You can't belong to everyone. She said, why not? I said, you can't just barge into the funeral of a perfect stranger. She said, why not? I said, you just can't. She said, why? I said, because. I said, you have to respect other people's privacy. There's such a thing as not being welcome. I said, not everybody likes having somebody with a ukulele sing happy birthday to them. They don't, she said. This group thing, I said, it's very strong. It's probably an instinct. You find it everywhere, from little groups like families to big ones like a town or school, to really big ones like a whole country. How about really, really big ones, she said, like a planet. Whatever, I said. The point is, in a group, everybody acts pretty much the same. That's kind of how the group holds itself together. Everybody, she said. Well, mostly, I said. That's what jails and mental hospitals are for, to keep that way. Keep it that way. You think I should be in jail? She said. I think you should try to be more like the rest of us, I said. Why? She said. Because, I said. Tell me, she said. It's hard, I said. Say it, she said. Because nobody likes you, I said. That's why. Nobody likes you. Nobody, she said. Her eyes covered me like the sky. Nobody? I tried to play dumb, but that wasn't working. Hey, I said, don't look at me. We're talking about them. Them. If it's up to me, I wouldn't change a thing. You're fine with me the way you are. But we're not alone, are we? We live in a world of them, like it or not. That's where I tried to keep it, on them. I didn't mention myself. I didn't say, do it for me. I didn't say, if you don't change, you can forget about me. I never said that. 2 days later, Stargirl vanished.